Trump's own nuclear envoy went on national television Saturday and said it out loud. Iran is 1 week away from industrial-grade bomb-making material. 7 days. The same morning, Rubio and CIA Director Ratcliffe walked into a secret war briefing with America's top 8 congressional leaders. When Chuck Schumer walked out, he said 4 words that stopped Washington cold. This is serious. The USS Gerald R just docked in Crete. The Geneva talks are tomorrow, and Israel just told the United States something that changes everything about what happens next. Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, confirmed Iran has enriched uranium to 60% to 90% of the work needed for a weapon. On February 24th, Rubio and CIA Director Ratcliffe gave a classified war briefing to the Gang of 8, the 8 most senior members of Congress. Every Democrat who walked out called it serious. The USS Gerald R. CVN-78, photographed at Suda Bay in Crete on February 24th, halfway to strike position. An Israeli intelligence official told the Financial Times the U.S. military can sustain only 4 to 5 days of intense strikes on Iran before running out of firepower. Trump will base his decision to strike on a single briefing from Witkoff and Kushner after they sit across from Iran's foreign minister in Geneva. Tomorrow. That meeting determines if there is a war. Before we break down exactly what happened and why this matters so much, please make sure you subscribe to Angel News. We're giving you the real analysis nobody else will touch. Share this with everyone you know because the President of the United States is about to decide whether to go to war based on a single gut check meeting happening in Geneva tomorrow. And most people have no idea how close we are to that moment. On Saturday, February 22nd, White House Special Envoy Steve Witkoff went on Fox News and said something no senior U.S. official had ever said publicly before. They are probably a week away from having industrial-grade bomb-making material, and that's really dangerous. Iran has enriched uranium to 60% purity. Weapons grade is 90%. Analysts from Newsweek and the Jerusalem Post confirm that 60% enrichment accounts for roughly 90% of the separation work needed to reach weapons grade. The final sprint from 60% to 90% can happen in weeks or days on existing centrifuges. Witkoff said Iran can't have that. Trump's red line is zero enrichment. Iran's current position is it will never give up enrichment entirely. There is no middle ground. There is no overlap. There is a clock. Think about what that 7-day warning actually means. Operation Midnight Hammer, the June 2025 B-2 strikes that the White House said obliterated Iran's nuclear program, set Iran back, but it did not stop Iran. 8 months later, the same White House envoy is on television saying Iran is 1 week from bomb-making material. The strikes bought time. The time is almost up. On Tuesday, February 24th, Secretary of State Rubio and CIA Director John Ratcliffe walked into a closed-door briefing with the Gang of 8, the 8 most senior congressional leaders from both parties who receive America's most classified intelligence. The subject: U.S. war plans for Iran. When they walked out, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer stood in front of cameras and said, "This is serious, and the administration has to make its case to the American people." Senator Mark Warner, ranking member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, said it was incumbent on Trump to explain to Americans what he wants to achieve and how he plans to protect U.S. interests. These are not partisan attacks. These are the people who just saw America's classified strike plans and came out shaken. Think about what it means when the men and women who just read the war plan come out and don't say, "We're ready." They come out and say, "The American people need to know." That is not confidence. That is a warning. Share this with everyone you know, because Trump's decision to go to war with Iran will reportedly be based not on a military assessment, but on whether Witkoff and Kushner think Iran is serious when they sit across from them in Geneva tomorrow. 2 real estate lawyers, the fate of the Middle East. Tomorrow. But here's the twist that every American war planner is being forced to confront right now. And it comes directly from Israel. An Israeli intelligence official told the Financial Times on February 24th that despite 2 aircraft carrier strike groups in the region, the U.S. military has the capacity to sustain only 4 to 5 days of intense aerial assault on Iran, a week at lower intensity. That is it. After that, the U.S. runs out of the specific precision munitions needed to keep hitting hardened underground targets. Think about what that intelligence assessment actually means. The United States has been building the most visible military concentration in the Middle East since 2003. 2 carriers, 120 aircraft, Patriot and THAAD batteries, F-15Es in Jordan, B-2s at Diego Garcia. And Israel's own intelligence says it only buys 4 to 5 days. Iran knows this too. Every Iranian military planner has done the same math. Absorb 4 days of strikes, survive, then unleash everything while America reloads. Here is what those 4 to 5 days of U.S. strikes would look like in practice. Day 1. B-2. Spirit stealth bombers drop massive ordnance penetrators on Fordo and Natanz underground facilities. F-35Cs from the Abraham Lincoln suppress Iranian air defense radars with AGM-88 HARM anti-radiation missiles. EA-18G Growlers from the Ford jam Iranian command and control communications. Day 2 and 3, Tomahawk land attack missiles from USS Bainbridge and USS Winston S. Churchill saturate missile production facilities at Isfahan and Shahrud. F-15 E-Strike Eagles from Muwafaq. Salty Air Base in Jordan conduct follow-on strikes with 2,000 pounds. JDAM guided bombs. Day 4 and 5. Remaining precision munition stocks target IRGC command facilities, ballistic missile launchers, and Revolutionary Guard bases. But here is Iran's counter-strategy, and it does not require surviving the strikes. It requires surviving long enough to retaliate. Iran's IRGC holds an estimated 1,000 to 1,200 ballistic missiles post-June 2025, reconstituted to near pre-war levels according to U.S. intelligence. Within hours of the first U.S. bomb dropping, Iranian missiles rained down on Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. 10,000 American troops. Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. Al Dhafra in the UAE. Every Gulf state that hosts American forces. Iran's ground forces conducted live fire drills on Iran's southern coast as recently as February 24th. The same day senators walked out of the war briefing saying, "This is serious." Iran is not hiding what it will do, it is rehearsing it. The Geneva meeting that decides everything. Tomorrow, Thursday, February 26th, Witkoff and Jared Kushner sit down in Geneva with Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. According to The Guardian, citing people directly familiar with the matter, Trump will base his decision on whether to strike Iran almost entirely on Witkoff and Kushner's assessment of whether Iran is serious about a deal or just stalling. That is the decision architecture. 2 men, 1 meeting. War or no war. Araghchi posted on X Tuesday that Iran will under no circumstances ever develop a nuclear weapon, but said Iran has a national right to peaceful nuclear technology. That means enrichment. Trump's position is zero enrichment. The two sides are still miles apart, and Bloomberg reported Tuesday that the U.S. may have quietly softened its position, potentially accepting a token enrichment level if it is independently verifiable. But Witkoff's public comments on Fox hardened the line back to zero the very same day. Washington is sending 2 contradictory signals to Tehran simultaneously. Iran does not know which one to believe. Neither does the world. Think about the existential stakes sitting on that Geneva table tomorrow. Witkoff walks in knowing Iran is 7 days from bomb material. He walks in knowing the U.S. can only sustain 4 to 5 days of strikes. He walks in knowing that Israel is watching, that Khamenei is underground, that 2 carriers are within range, that senators just walked out of a war briefing looking pale. Whatever impression Witkoff and Kushner carry out of that room determines whether Trump pushes the button. That is not diplomacy. That is a verdict. And then the situation took an even more dangerous turn, one that landed with almost no coverage in Western media. According to open-source flight tracking confirmed by multiple analysts, 11 of the 12 F-22A Raptor stealth fighters stationed at RAF Lakenheath in England have been repositioned to Avda Air Base in southern Israel. The F-22 Raptor is America's most capable air superiority fighter. It was not designed for ground attack. It was designed to establish air dominance, to clear the sky of enemy aircraft so other strike packages can operate freely. Repositioning F-22s to Israel does not support a U.S. strike on Iran. It supports a scenario in which Iran retaliates against Israel with ballistic missiles, and the IRGC Air Force attempts to contest Israeli airspace. That is not preparation for offense, that is preparation for the day after. Think about what that F-22 deployment tells you about what Washington actually expects to happen. They are not just planning the strike. They are planning what comes after the strike, when Iran fires back and Israel needs American stealth fighters holding the sky over Tel Aviv. Bottom line is this. Witkoff confirmed February 22nd. Iran is 1 week from industrial-grade bomb-making material at 60% enrichment. Rubio and CIA Director Ratcliffe briefed Congress's Gang of Eight on Tuesday. Schumer walked out and said, "This is serious." Senator Warner demanded Trump explain the plan to the American people. The USS Gerald R. photographed docking at Suda Bay, Crete, February 24th, halfway to the Gulf. Israeli intelligence told the Financial Times the U.S. can only sustain 4 to 5 days of intense strikes before running out of precision munitions. Iran's IRGC conducted live fire drills on its southern coast February 24th. 11 F-22A Raptors repositioned from England to Avda Air Base in Israel. Tehran confirmed. Witkoff and Kushner meet Aragchi in Geneva tomorrow, Thursday, February 26th. Trump will decide on war based on that single meeting's outcome. U.S. may have quietly softened its zero enrichment demand, but Witkoff publicly re-hardened it the same day. Iran says it will never give up enrichment. The gap is still unbridgeable. The clock says 7 days. Whether Witkoff and Kushner walk out of Geneva tomorrow believing Iran is serious or believing Iran is stalling will determine if the largest American military operation since Iraq 2003 begins within days. Iran is 7 days from bomb material. The U.S. can only fight for 4 or 5. Israel has F-22s on its soil. The senators know what's coming. One thing is absolutely certain. The most consequential meeting in the Middle East in years is happening tomorrow. And whatever Witkoff tells Trump when he walks out of that room, the world changes. Stay tuned.